John Matthew Stafford is an American football quarterback for the Detroit Lions of the National Football League. He played college football at Georgia, and was drafted by the Lions first overall in the 2009 NFL Draft. Stafford is the fourth quarterback in NFL history to throw over 5,000 yards in a single season, including one of three in the 2011 NFL season, and was the fastest player in NFL history to reach 20,000 passing yards. Early years: Stafford was born in Tampa, Florida to John and Margaret Stafford. He lived in Dinwiddie, Georgia while his father attended graduate school at the University of Georgia. His family then moved to Dallas, Texas, and Stafford attended Highland Park High School with Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw. He was coached by Randy Allen and was widely considered to be one of the best high school quarterbacks in the United States in the class of 2006, ranked ahead of Tim Tebow. In 2005, he led his team to a perfect 15-0 record and won the UIL 4A Division I state championship. During the playoff run, Stafford beat Ryan Mallett's Texarkana Texas 38-31, as well as Javan Sneed's Stephenville 41-38. Stafford had over 4,000 yards passing without playing the first three games of the season due to a knee injury. Stafford received numerous accolades including being named to the Parade All-America team and the USA Today preseason Super 25 in 2005. He also won the MVP and Best Arm awards at the 2005 EA Sports Elite 11 Quarterback Camp and was named the 2005 EA Sports National Player of the Year. Regarded as a five-star recruit by Rivals.com, Stafford was listed as the number one pro-style quarterback prospect in the class of 2006 by Rivals.com. Before he had even started a game at the collegiate level, analyst Mel Kiper, Jr. predicted, correctly, that Stafford would eventually be the first pick in the NFL Draft. College career. Freshman Stafford graduated early from high school and enrolled at the University of Georgia in January, where he became the first true freshman quarterback to start for the Georgia Bulldogs football team since Quincy Carter in 1998, and first out of high school to start since Eric Zia in 1991. Stafford wore number 7 at Georgia. He completed 5 of 12 passes for 102 yards and 1 TD in a Georgia spring game. Stafford debuted late in the season opener of the 2006 season against Western Kentucky and went 3 of 5 passing for 40 yards and a touchdown pass. During the season's third game, against South Carolina, starting quarterback Joe Tarashinsky III was injured, forcing Stafford to come off the bench. Although he completed just 8 of 19 passes for 171 yards and 3 interceptions, Georgia won the game, 18-0. Against University of Alabama Birmingham the following week, Stafford made his first collegiate start. Georgia won, 34-0. Victories over Colorado and Mississippi improved Georgia's record to 5-0, but the heart of the conference schedule loomed. The rest of the season was up and down for Stafford and the Bulldogs. Following home losses to both Tennessee and Vanderbilt, UGA head coach Mark Richt named Stafford the starter for the rest of the season ahead of Tarashinsky. Stafford completed 20 of 32 passes for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 27-24 win over Mississippi State, and was named the SEC Freshman of the Week for his efforts. Statistically, he had his best game of the season against the 5th-ranked Auburn Tigers. Stafford finished the game 14 of 20 for 219 yards and a touchdown, and added 83 rushing yards and a touchdown on 7 carries in Georgia's 37-15 upset win. The following week, Stafford led the Bulldogs on a 12-play, 64-yard drive and threw the game-winning touchdown pass in Georgia's 15-12 win over number 16 Georgia Tech. Stafford completed his freshman season by leading Georgia to a 31-24 come-from-behind victory over Virginia Tech in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, after the Bulldogs trailed 21-3 at halftime. Stafford threw for 129 yards and a second-half touchdown to spark the comeback. Sophomore he threw for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Bulldogs defeated the Oklahoma State Cowboys in the season opener. Against Alabama, the Bulldogs avoided an 0-2 start in SEC play by escaping Bryant-Denny Stadium with an overtime win. Stafford connected with senior wide receiver Mikey Henderson on the Bulldogs' first play from scrimmage in OT for the winning score. In UGA's win versus number 9 Florida, he completed 11 of 18 passes for 217 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a career-long TD pass of 84 yards to Mohamed Massaquoi and a 53-yard TD pass to Henderson. The wins over Florida, Auburn, and Georgia Tech marked the first time that Georgia had defeated all 3 rivals in the same season since 1982. Stafford had 175 yards passing and a TD pass during Georgia's 41-10 rout of the number 10 Hawaii Warriors in the 2008 Sugar Bowl. He completed 194 of 348 passes for 2,523 yards and 19 TDs as well as 2 rushing TDs for the season. Junior Stafford was chosen to athlone a unregistered trademark as preseason Heisman favorites others to watch list. Georgia was ranked number 1 in both the preseason coaches poll and the AP poll, marking the first time Georgia has ever been number 1 in the preseason version of either poll. The team also entered the 2008 season with the longest active winning streak among the 66 BCS conference teams, having won its last 7 games of the 2007 season. In the final regular season game against Georgia Tech, Stafford completed 24 out of 39 attempts for 407 yards and 5 touchdowns, setting a personal record for touchdowns in a single game, albeit a 45-42 loss. Stafford finished the season with 3,459 passing yards, the second most in school history, and 25 touchdowns, the single-season record for passing touchdowns. He also rushed for a touchdown in 2008. After defeating Michigan State 24-12 and winning the MVP of the 2009 Capital One Bowl, Stafford finished his 3 years at Georgia with a 3-0 record in bowl games and a 6-3 record in rivalry games. Stafford chose to forego his senior season and enter the 2009 NFL Draft. Awards and honors named SEC Freshman of the Week twice during the 2006 season. Named Rivals.com's National Freshman of the Week for his performance against Auburn on November 11, 2006. Received the University of Georgia's 2006 Offensive Newcomer of the Year award. Named to the 2006 Seconds Coaches All-Freshman Team. Named Offensive MVP of the 2006 Chick-fil-A Bowl, named All-America in 2008 by Pro Football Weekly. Named to Second Team All-SEC in 2008. MVP of the 2009 Capital One Bowl. Statistics Stafford's 25 touchdown passes in 2008 broke the previous Georgia record of 24, set by DJ Shockley and Eric Zia. Stafford's 3,459 yards passing in 2008 was second most in Georgia history, surpassed only by Zia's 3,525 yards in 1993. The Stafford effect The so-called Stafford effect relates to the phenomenon seen at Stafford's high school alma mater, Highland Park High School in Dallas, Texas, from 2006-2008, where the number of seniors who applied to University of Georgia rose dramatically in the 3 years following Stafford's departure to Athens, Georgia. In 2005, the year before Stafford went to Georgia, 35 seniors applied to the university, compared with 69 in 2006, 75 in 2007, and 106 in 2008. The Stafford effect was chronicled in a feature story in Stafford's hometown newspaper, Park City's People. Stafford remarked in the story, "I'm not sure I have anything to do with it. I think people realize Georgia is a good school to watch football and have a good time, just like in Highland Park." Professional career 2009 NFL Draft Already after the 2008 NFL Draft, several NFL analysts predicted Stafford would be the number 1 pick in the 2009 draft if he chose to leave school early. He eventually did, and on April 24, 2009, agreed to record contract terms with the Detroit Lions to become the first overall pick of the 2009 NFL Draft, one day before the draft was held. The 6-year contract reportedly contained $41.7 million in guaranteed money and carried a total value of up to $78 million. Detroit Lions 2009. On September 6, 2009, Lions head coach Jim Schwartz announced that Stafford would be the Lions' permanent starting quarterback heading into the 2009 season. Regarding his decision, Schwartz stated, "This isn't an internship or an experiment." Stafford beat out veteran Dawn Culpepper for the starting job. Stafford made his first start in the NFL on September 13, 2009. He was one of 4 rookie starters for the Lions in the season opener against the New Orleans Saints, and was the first Lions rookie quarterback to start the season since Greg Landry in 1968. He completed 16 of 37 passes for 205 yards and 3 interceptions. He was intercepted twice by Darren Sharper, the other time by Scott Shanle. He also ran in a 1-yard touchdown. In Week 2, he threw his first career touchdown pass when he connected with Calvin Johnson on a 6-yard touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings. In Week 3, Stafford led the Lions to their first victory since the 2007 season. He completed 21 of 36 for 241 yards and 1 touchdown in Detroit's 19-14 win over the Washington Redskins. In Week 4, Stafford completed 24 of 36 for 296 yards with 1 touchdown as well as an interception before suffering a knee injury while being sacked in the fourth quarter of Detroit's 48-24 loss to the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. He underwent further evaluation back in Detroit. Culpepper started in his place in Week 5, and again in Week 6. In Week 8, Stafford returned as the starter in the home game against the Rams. Here he threw and completed 14/33 passes for 168 yards, and an interception and was also sacked twice, but he ran for a touchdown which turned out to be the only one of the game for the Lions as well as handing the Rams their only victory of the season as they lost 17-13. In Week 9, Stafford struggled at the Seahawks going 22/42 for 203 yards with 2 touchdowns but he also threw 5 costly interceptions which remains his career high in the 32-20 loss. In Week 10, Stafford went 29/51 for 224 yards and a touchdown in the 27-10 loss at the Vikings. On November 22, 2009, Stafford threw 5 touchdowns in a 38-37 win over the Cleveland Browns, becoming the youngest quarterback ever to do so, being more than a year younger than the former record holder, Dan Marino. In a thrilling ending, Stafford received high acclaim when he stepped back onto the field despite team doctors urged to stay on the sideline after suffering a separated shoulder on the previous play and threw the final touchdown pass as time expired. In addition to the 5 touchdown passes, Stafford accumulated 422 yards passing, a record for a rookie at that time. For his performance, Stafford won NFC Offensive Player of the Week and Pepsi Rookie of the Week. Stafford was mic'd up for the game for NFL Films. The show's creator Steve Sabol said it was the most dramatic performance he's seen in the show's 30-year history. To begin Week 12 on Thanksgiving Day, Stafford went 20/43 for 213 yards with a touchdown pass but threw 4 interceptions in the 34-12 loss against the Packers. In Week 13, Stafford went 11/26 for 143 yards with a touchdown but threw 2 interceptions in the 23-13 loss at the Bengals. Stafford was placed on injured reserve on December 24 for the minor knee injury. Stafford concluded his rookie season having passed for 2,267 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 20 interceptions. In all 10 of the games he started for the Lions he either threw or ran for a touchdown despite the Lions finishing the season 2-8 in games that he starts. 2010. Stafford injured his right shoulder in the season opener against the Chicago Bears on September 12. Stafford returned on October 31 against the Washington Redskins and threw 4 touchdowns to lead the Lions to a 37-25 win. On November 7, Stafford re-injured his right shoulder in the fourth quarter of the Lions' 23-20 OT loss to the New York Jets. the Lions announced that Dr. James Andrews had performed surgery on Stafford's throwing shoulder, which included an AC joint repair and a clavicle shaving. This ended his 2010 season, leaving the Lions at 1-2 in games he started and bringing his career total with the Lions to 3-10. 2011. The Lions opened the season on September 11 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with high expectations. Stafford played well, throwing for 305 yards, 3 TDs, and an interception in a 27-20 win, the first season opener the Lions had won since 2007. Another strong performance followed, with Stafford throwing for 4 TDs, 294 yards, and an interception against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 2, leading the Lions to a 48-3 blowout victory, the largest win margin in team history. Stafford won the FedEx Air NFL Player of the Week for his performance. In Weeks 3 and 4, Stafford led the team to consecutive comeback victories, a 26-23 overtime comeback victory over the Minnesota Vikings after trailing 20-0 at halftime in Week 3, and a 34-30 win over the Dallas Cowboys after trailing 27-3 with 12:27 left in the third quarter. Week 5 saw Stafford orchestrate a 24-13 win over the Chicago Bears, going 19 of 26 for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. This marked the first time the Lions had gone 5-0 since 1956, the year before they won their last NFL championship. In Week 10 against the Bears, Stafford threw 4 interceptions, including 2 that were returned for touchdowns on consecutive drives. The game was marred by a brawl that began when Stafford threw Bears cornerback DJ Moore to the ground by his helmet during a block on an interception return. In response, Moore attacked Stafford and a sideline-clearing brawl ensued. Stafford was fined $7,500 for his role in the brawl. On November 20, Stafford threw for 335 yards and 5 TDs as the Lions defeated the Carolina Panthers in another comeback, 49-35, after trailing 24-7 in the second quarter. Stafford became the first QB since at least 1950 to win back-to-back games after trailing by at least 20 points, the first to win 3 games in a season after trailing by at least 17 points, and the first to win 4 games in a season after trailing by at least 13 points according to Stats, LLC. On January 1, 2012, Stafford became the 4th quarterback in NFL history and 3rd in the 2011 season, along with Tom Brady and Drew Brees, to throw for 5,000 passing yards in a season after collecting 520 passing yards against the Green Bay Packers in a 45-41 loss in Week 17. The accomplishment made Stafford the second youngest quarterback in NFL history to reach 5,000 yards, behind only Dan Marino. Over the last 4 games of the 2011 regular season, Stafford became the only quarterback in NFL history to pass for over 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns over a 4-game span. Stafford and the Lions finished the regular season with a 10-6 record, good enough for the Lions to make their first playoff appearance since 1999. During the wild card round in the playoffs against the New Orleans Saints, Stafford threw for 380 yards with 3 touchdown passes and 1 rushing touchdown. But he also threw 2 late picks in the fourth quarter that sealed the loss for the Lions, as they were defeated, 45-28. Stafford was named a Pro Bowl alternate for the NFC after the 2011 NFL season. He was later named the 2011 Pro Football Weekly Comeback Player of the Year, April Comeback Player of the Year and NFL Alumni Quarterback of the Year. 2012. While the 2011 season proved to be the best season of Stafford's young career, 2012 was one full of setbacks. During the opening game against the St. Louis Rams, Stafford threw 3 interceptions and only 1 touchdown pass. The Lions found a way to win the game 27-23. Stafford and the Lions lost the next 3 games to the 49ers, Titans, and Vikings. In the ensuing weeks, the Lions managed to win 3 games, including impressive comeback wins against the Seahawks and Eagles, and a dominating performance against the Jaguars. These proved to be the final winning games of the 2012 season as they ended the season with an 8-game losing streak. Stafford finished the season with 20 touchdown passes, a huge drop compared to the 41 he threw in 2011. 17 interceptions, one more than 2011, and second most in his career since his rookie season. 4,967 passing yards on 727 attempts. And a QB rating of 79.8, the lowest since his rookie season. He also rushed for a career-high 126 yards and 4 touchdowns. 2013. On July 7, 2013, Stafford agreed to a 3-year, $53 million extension with the Lions. He will be guaranteed $41.5 million through 2017. Stafford completed 23 of 35 passes for 242 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 pick on September 29 in a 40-32 win against the Bears. That gave him 14,069 yards through 49 games, surpassing Kurt Warner for the best 50-game start to a career. "I might when I'm done playing someday," Stafford said. "I had no idea about that, or that it was coming. It's something that I'll probably look back on when I'm done and realize it was something pretty special." Stafford also holds the 50-game record for completions at 1,214, over Mark Bulger's 1,115. He's second in career 300-yard passing performances through 50 games at 19, trailing Warner's 29. Most passing yards through 50 games 1. Matthew Stafford 14,069-2. Kurt Warner 13,864-3. Mark Bulger 13,551-4. Dan Marino 13,514-5. Peyton Manning 12,939, most completions through 50 games 1. Matthew Stafford 112142. Mark Bulger 1,115-3. Drew Bledsoe 1,073-4. Kurt Warner 110635. Carson Palmer 11059, most 300-yard passing performances through 50 games 1. Kurt Warner 29-2. Matthew Stafford 19-2. Dan Marino 19-4. Jay Cutler 13-4. Aaron Rodgers 13. Stafford led the Lions to a 5-3 record entering their mid-season bye. Stafford defeated the Cowboys 31-30 in the final game before the bye, throwing for 488 yards and a touchdown despite 2 interceptions. Down 30-24 with just 62 seconds to work with and no timeouts, Stafford completed a 23-yard pass to Calvin Johnson to the Cowboys' 1-yard line. He hustled the team to the line as though to spike the ball, but instead jumped over the line for the winning touchdown with 14 seconds to go to 5-3. However, the Detroit Lions would finish 2-6 the rest of the way to finish with a record of 7-9. Lions head coach Jim Schwartz was later fired following the season. Matthew Stafford finished the 2013 season with 4,650 passing yards, with 29 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. 2014. On January 14, 2014, the Detroit Lions announced Jim Caldwell as their new head coach. The Detroit Lions rebounded from a disappointing 2013 campaign by finishing with an 11-5 record, thus earning the NFC's 6th seed, their first playoff appearance since 2011. Stafford finished the 2014 season with 4,257 passing yards, with 22 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and a QB rating of 85.7. On January 4, 2015, Stafford and the Lions went against the Dallas Cowboys, in a wild-card playoff game. After the Lions had a 20-7 lead in the third quarter, the Cowboys scored 17 unanswered points to win 24-20. Stafford threw 323 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception during the game. On January 19, 2015, it was announced that Stafford was selected to the 2015 Pro Bowl, his first Pro Bowl appearance. He would be replacing Peyton Manning of the Denver Broncos, due to a quad injury. For the game he was named Pro Bowl Offensive MVP, with 316 passing yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Statistics equals. Regular season. Postseason. NFL records equals. Most passing touchdowns in a single game by a rookie quarterback, 5. Youngest quarterback to throw 5 or more touchdowns in a single game, first player in NFL history to throw for 1,500 yards and 14 TDs over a 4-game span, most games with at least one touchdown pass in a season, 16, most consecutive 350-plus yards passing games, 4, most yards thrown in a single game without a touchdown pass, most passing attempts in a season, 727, most games with 40-plus pass attempts in a season, 13, fastest player to reach 13,000 career passing yards tied with Kurt Warner, fastest player to reach 14,000 career passing yards, fastest player to reach 15,000 career passing yards, fastest player to reach 16,000 career passing yards, fastest player to reach 17,000 career passing yards, fastest player to reach 20,000 career passing yards. Lions franchise records equals, most career pass completions a Euro 1,867, most passing completions in a single season, 435, most career pass attempts a Euro 3,129, most passing attempts in a single season, 727, most passing attempts in a game, 63, highest completion percentage, career a Euro 59.6, highest completion percentage in a single season by starting QB, 63.5, most career passing yards a Euro 21,714, most passing yards in a single season, 5,038, most passing yards in a game, 520, most 4,000 passing yard seasons, career a Euro 4, most consecutive seasons, 4,000 yards passing a Euro 4, most 400-plus yards passing games, career, 6, most 300-plus yards passing games, career, 27, most 300-plus yards passing games, 8, most passing touchdowns in a single season, 41, most passing touchdowns in a game, 5, most passing touchdowns in a career, 131, most games 1 plus TD passes, season, 16, lowest interception percentage, career, a Euro 2.7%, most career yards per game a Euro 282.0, most yards per game in a single season a Euro 314.9, highest passer rating, career a Euro 83.6, highest passer rating in a single season a Euro 97.2, most fourth-quarter comeback wins, career, 15, most fourth-quarter comeback wins in single season, 5, most game-winning drives, career, 17, most game-winning drives in a single season, 5. Personal life, Stafford and longtime girlfriend, Kelly Hall, married on April 4, 2015. They met at the University of Georgia, where she was a cheerleader. Media career, Stafford has a weekly segment on Mondays on The Mitch Albom Show with Mitch Albom on Detroit radio station WJR. References. External links. Career statistics and player information from NFL.com. A Eurocent Pro Football Reference, Detroit Lions bio, ESPN profile.